Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this video basically is going to be about children scenes in a movie right next to adult sex scenes. Now in American culture, this destroys everything. This destroys it all. They have movies from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s up into the present time where adults having sex is right next to a whole child scene right next to it, where children are just doing whatever they do in the movie, but it's right next to a sex scene. Now remember, this is not separate movies. This is all in one movie. So this is capsuled, if you will, like a pill, all in one capsule. Now, if you have children movie and it's children movies, and you have adult sex scenes and it's an adult sex scene movie, that's a different story. You have in American culture from almost the beginning of pop culture movies, children in the same movie as adults with the adults having sex. Now, what I call this is indirect pedophilia pornography. It's indirect pedophilia pornography because it's not direct per se, but it's indirect. It's still in there, and you can't really say what the director is thinking when he or she has adult sex scenes and then children right after that. Like, okay, cut sex scene for the adults. Bring in the children. That's what he has to do. If he's cutting the movie, he has to say cut. That's the sex scene. All right, bring in the children. Right in the stench of all that they just got done. Yeah, right in the stench of all they just got done. Your whole culture is filled with adult sex scenes with children scenes all in one movie. And see, here's the thing. You think those children that's in the movie don't watch the movie? Children now, excited to be in the movie. Pretty sure they're excited to be in the movie. So you don't think they watch the movie? You don't think they want to tell their friends from school, I'm in a movie? So they just walk around secretly in movies and don't tell their children, don't tell their peers, their friends at school. Well, I'm in a movie, but you can't watch it. Well, I'm in a movie, but I can't tell you that. I'm not going to tell you what I've done. I'm in a movie. You think children keep it as a little secret that they're in a movie, a Hollywood movie with sex scenes in it? So the children watch the whole movie. It's safe to say. I know you control your kids, but the American community doesn't control all their children. So you don't think some children that's in movies watch the whole movie they in and their friends watch it too? And they probably laugh and giggle at the sex scenes that's in the same movie they in. So you're telling me 100% of the movies that children are in with sex scenes, they didn't watch the movies. That's what you're trying to get me to believe. That they didn't watch the movie with adult sex scenes in it. They didn't watch these movies. They just was in the movie, excited to be in the movie. Don't know why they're in an adult sex scene movie though, but excited to be in the movie. But don't tell nobody. That's what you're trying to get me to believe. 100% of these movies from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, up into the present time, you're trying to tell me that 100% of the children don't watch the movie that they in with sex scenes in it? The children that are in movies that have sex scenes in it with adults having sex. You telling me 100% of the American movies, these American children don't watch these American movies with adult sex scenes in it? You telling me 100% of them don't watch it. So that means they're exposed to adult sex because of being in an adult sex scene movie, right? I'm pretty sure they watch the movies. You telling me 100% of them don't watch the movies? Oh yeah, it's serious. When you try to go to war playing games, we going all the way, bruh. We ain't playing no games. We gonna expose the whole culture and show you who's really doing what. And you can take it how you want to take it. But God is gonna do something about it. Yeah, you don't have to listen. Only God has to listen. I'm showing you why you're being defeated, just in case you want to know. You got a whole culture. You got a whole culture of movies that put children in a movie. They put children in a movie and then turn around and put sex scenes with adults in the movie and think, oh, okay, the children are not going to watch that. You got decades of that. I can show you, it's countless and countless and hundreds of movies that children are in the movies and there are sex scenes with the movie. So if it's all together, isn't that a form of, like I said, indirect child pornography? Indirect pedophilia pornography. It's indirect, but it's still there. Well, you got children in a movie with sex scenes with adults. I know, your culture thought it was cool. But see, now that I'm separated from the culture, God is showing me as I'm fasting, now I'm starting to see everything. All the stuff that these individuals overlook. All the things that these politicians overlooked. You overlooked this. You overlooked adult sex scenes and child sex scenes right all bunched up together in the same movie. You telling me this is correct? That's what you're trying to get me to believe. That a person's mind, here's the next part, a person's mind goes from child scene to adult sex scene. You telling me that's right in the psychology? That's a form of psychological pedophilia. Your mind, it's not natural for your mind, listen to this part, it's not natural for your mind to go from adult sex scenes to children stamping around playing, hey. You just seen a guy pull out his penis and drive it in a woman. And then there's a sex scene, a child scene full of kids running down a field or something. It happens all the time in the movies, especially in the 80s. In the 80s, there was movies all like that. You have a sex scene and then children running down a field, yay! So see how close the mind goes from sexuality to then back flipping to children? Nah, I'm not tripping. It's a deeper level. It's a higher level of purity that your American culture and American community don't have. Yeah, you don't play the game of purity with God's people. That ain't a game you want to play, big baby. Your country is sexually charged and has been so for decades. This is a game you shouldn't have played. You shouldn't have played the game of purity. The Americans, out of all countries, want to play the game of purity. Hey, you barked up the wrong tree, as they say in the South. You barked up the wrong tree, buddy. That's a Southern saying. You barked up the wrong tree. Because that slang comes from a dog that's hunting, but it barks up the tree of a beast and gets defeated and devoured. You came barking up the tree, thought you was hunting me, right? Boom, ow. Look what happened to you. Got your snout toe off, didn't it? Got your snout toe off when you found out you got 44 states for child marriage. Yeah, you got child marriage in America. Got your snout toe off, didn't you? Hey, if you're a real man, you will take the truth. If you're a real woman, you will take the truth. You ain't got no choice. And you can't doctor it up. You can't listen. Child marriage is child marriage. Ain't no way you can doctor it up. Ain't no way you can doctor it up. You can try, but the bottom line is the nucleus of the dynamic is child marriage. That's the nucleus. That's all we need to know is that you're marrying children. That's the nucleus. I don't care about anything else around the nucleus. The nucleus is child marriage. Now back to these movies. Back to these movies. Boom, Al. That's 7. Back to these movies. You got these movies that got this one movie compressed together with child sex scenes. I mean, adult sex scenes and child scenes all together. Look at it like this. If you was rewinding it, you was fast forwarding it, and you can see all the images. This is a perfect example, showing you that it's incorrect. As you would take any movie from the 80s, the 90s, you could take your pick. You could take them and pick through average movies, even horror movies, where it has nude sex scenes showing women's breasts, and then it shows children sitting at a breakfast table. In horror movies. I know you've seen it time and time again. The girl's, she's screaming, she got her tits out, and then it goes to children eating breakfast at the table, at a breakfast table. Right? If you was fast forwarding it, you would see all these images in one. And that's my perfect example. If you was fast forward, you'll see adult sex scenes, people running around, adult sex scenes, then children. This is how your brain is actually, when you fast forward it, you see how your brain is taking it in. You got adult sex scenes, then you have children right after that. Now, if you're watching this fast forwarding it, you don't have time to, hear this part, you don't have time to switch up your thought process from, oh, okay, that's children, can't think about sex right now. If you fast forward it, it's all coming into your head at one time. So you're like, nah, hold up, wait, I just saw sex, then I saw children. You see what I'm saying, right? That's how it really is slowed down. You see the revelation of that? That's how it really is slowed down, because it's all coming into your psyche. And even though you may switch it up, some of you are not masters enough over your mind to go from a sex scene, hear this part, to then go to a child scene and shut down your whole arousal. So you still turned on when you got children right in front of you on the movies. Now you see what I'm saying. Yeah, we get into the nucleus of it all now. Yeah, we get into the middle part. We get into the crust of all of this. You turned on from watching sex scenes in a movie, an American movie, right? You're like, wow, look at that. Look what they're doing. Look how she looks. For women, look how he looks. And you're aroused, literally. And then children comes running right into the movie. You think your whole arousal shuts down totally. You think everybody arousal shut down totally. While they're turned on from the sex scenes. See, this is what the director needs to know. While you turned on from the sex scene. Yeah, we talking about thorough now. Everybody talking about they thoroughbreds. How about now? You a thoroughbred? Let's see. We'll see then. When I finish with my campaign, we'll see. We'll see who's left of the thoroughbreds. That's a 7 Al. You telling me people that watch all these movies from the 80s and the 90s that have these sex scenes, you telling me when the child sex scene comes on, you think their erection is totally gone and their arousal is totally gone? You think the woman that vagina is lubricated and wet, you think she totally she totally turned off from sex or not aware of her body just because the child scene came on? You might be able to do that as soldiers, military, police, trained men. You're something like me, a spiritual warrior. You're able to to guard yourself instantly in a flash when it comes to those type of things, psychologically speaking. I'm able to do that in a flash. You might not even be quicker than me. I'm able to do that in a flash, to go from adult to child in a flash, with guard in a flash. Half of y'all are not able to go from scene to scene and do that. You don't even understand what is happening to you. That's why you say, what just happened? That's why you say, what just happened? Because you don't know what just happened to you. You don't know what just happened with the movie. You don't know what just happened concerning what was projected from the movie. You just had an adult scene, then you went to children. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. And your mind, for many of you, is not sharp and fast enough to shut down the arousal, the sexual arousal that you're having, and to go into a child scene and be pure towards the children that is projected towards you. So guess what that means? Many people start looking at the children a certain way. Well, you just was turned on from watching the adults. And now you're looking at what's next. And now you're kind of checking that out a little bit. That part. Now you checking that out a little bit. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Many of you are not fast enough as a spiritual warrior to shut down your arousal and when the child scenes come on in the movie. And I'm going to do a video about this. Many of you watch movies that have children in it while you having sex. And I have a reputation among partners for not allowing any child scenes in my sexual atmosphere. There won't be no children in my sexual atmosphere. You won't come into my sexual atmosphere with seeing children projected on screens while I'm having sex. And see, this is how perversion starts with many people. It starts with thoughts. Now you watch it. Now you know, some women taking it from the back and you sitting up there getting plowed while your companion has on a TV that has children all in it. You might be watching a child move, a whole channel. And it just went to it, and you didn't move. It just went to it. The channel, you might have hit it by mistake. And you smoking and drinking. Some of you that's worldly, you are smoking and drinking, and you ain't trying to move because the sex too good. So now you on a child channel, and you hear child's voices screaming, and you're getting plowed, and you telling me you ignoring all of that. It's impossible for you to. It's consuming your atmosphere. That's the seventh hour. It's consuming your atmosphere. How can you shut down something? How can you ignore something that's consuming your atmosphere? You're lying. You're not ignoring it. It's still seeping in. You might not be paying attention to it, but it's still seeping in. It's still seeping in your atmosphere. And many of you watch child movies while you're having sex. And you lie to each other talking about, well, we not paying attention to that. You lying. You got a little secret arousal going on. It's in your atmosphere. You hear children that's usually in movies are projected loudly. Children don't whisper in movies like, this and that, and we're gonna do this. You hear children talking softly in movies? Do you ever hear children in movie entertainment, in movie business, movies, right? Do you ever hear children talking softly? Like, we should go down to the park and we should do this. They're never talking like that in movies. Children never talk softly in movies. So every time children are in the movie, the directors always say, now children, you gotta scream and you gotta do this. Yay! That's how you know it's children. You hear them, yay! And you're getting plowed from the back while children are saying, yay! And it really is, it's a serious situation. Because you're sitting up having sex, experiencing sex, and you're processing child voices and child visuals, and you're telling me there is no arousal with that? You would have me to believe that you're that strong of a human, right? You would have me to believe that you're that perfect of a human. I don't believe that. I believe that it's a little compromise that you think don't mean nothing because ain't nothing. You ain't having sex with children. You think it don't mean nothing because you ain't having sex with children, so it's okay. That in reality you having sex with an adult. Yeah, that may be true, and you would be correct concerning reality. But are you correct when it comes to the little inward fantasies and the little things you might be flirting with a little bit? When you see pretty little children on a movie and you getting plowed from the back, you telling me ain't no little subtle arousal there a little bit? See, in wisdom would tell you, I'm not watching any movies with children in it while I'm having sex. That's what wisdom would tell you. Because you are human. These days they got movies where you can't really tell if the girl is old enough. She kind of looked like she might be 18. You done seen this before? Oh, come on. Won't you be transparent for once and stop being a fake? You done seen a movie where you think, oh, she kind of look like she 18. That's how you know you're pure, because you think you're trying to see if she is, right? She kind of look like she 18, but she kind of don't. See, you should be processing all those movies properly before you engage in sex with your spouse. Before you start having sex with your spouse, you need to make sure this ain't no movie that got questionable children, questionable looks, because see, they get you like that too. Because you got to remember, you got 44 states with child marriage, so you don't think none of that is influencing the culture? You don't think there's some people that's influencing the culture just like gay culture influences the culture too? So they might have this 44 states child marriage type of committee, if you will. This committee may influence the culture and influence the movies to make you feel it's all right to have these feelings towards children. Well, if they got 44 states with child marriage, you don't think they're doing any influencing? That would make sense. So now they got a little teenager in it. And her little anatomy is sticking out. And they trying to get you to see it. So see what you think about it. Let you process how you feel about it. See, that's how it works. Because when you at home watching TV, so you can process all these thoughts about how you feel and how that makes you feel. So now they got her little teenager anatomy all out. I'm talking about 13 years old and 14 years old. You know all these movies? You've seen them. The little teenage girls with the little anatomies. She shouldn't even be showing no breast, but they trying to show the little bit of breast she got, showing a little bit of bubbles she got, and try to see what you think about it. Well, I would think this would be true if they have 44 states with child marriage, that they would be influencing the people in some form or fashion. You don't think so? So you don't think none of that perspective is influencing the movies? You sure about that? You can't be sure about it, can you? You can't be sure about it. I can't be sure about it. But we do know they got child marriage in 44 states, though. We do know that part. And in wisdom, you would think that they're going to try to influence you to feel the same way. Boom. So now how they do that? How they go about that? They doing it subtly with these little teenage white girls as little heroes. And these little teenage black girls as little superheroes. And why they got them as superheroes, they subtly suggesting that you should feel the same way. See, that ain't too bad. See, look how is that too bad? She really ain't no child, you know. Look how her body, she really ain't, right? Don't you see what we see? And they try, that's what it is a game of don't you see what we see? Well, how can you explain all these suggestive movies where these young girls are showing something that they don't have? Does that make sense? Showing something that they don't have. Showing their body and they don't have nothing. Right? And listen, they shouldn't be showing nothing but adult bodies. Right? Why are they showing all these children bodies? And this is how I personally feel about swimsuits. And I'm going to do a video about this too. This is how I personally feel about swimming wear. Children should be walking around in no bra and panties. If you're not 18, you shouldn't be walking around in no bra and panties. Look at it for what it is. Ain't nothing under the swimsuits. And to a pedophile, this is basically a child in bra and panties. Think about it. Okay, what else is closer? That's the closest it gets to being totally naked and to having bra and looking like you got bra and panties on. So you thinking bathing suit, a pervert is thinking bra and panties. That's a 7 hour. Yeah, you got your little teenage girls that's not even 18 walking around trying to look cute in bathing suits, and perverts are thinking that's how she looks in bra and panties. Well, it is. Wouldn't it be accurate? Wouldn't that be how she would look? Seeing everything as it would be. In bra and panties. And see, this is your culture. Yeah, you want to play the pure game, we're going to take it all the way there. It's a game you shouldn't have played with Christians. That's the worst game you could play with us, is the game of purity. Because we're going to go all the way 100. And we're going to show you everything in your community that's suggestive when it comes to children and sexuality. Yeah, you got children walking around in bathing suits looking like they in bra and panties. And you think it's cute because your American culture has told you it's cute. See, these the same people that got child marriage. They're trying to make you feel it's okay. It's okay to let the children come out in bra looking stuff and panty looking stuff. If the world won't last long enough and I have a daughter, she ain't walking around in some kind of whatever it is, looking like it's bra and panties. With all these perverts in these days and time, sitting up, you thinking bathing suit, like an idiot. They're thinking bra and panties, like a pervert. That's what it is, man. Think about it. And your culture has influenced everyone to feel that this is acceptable. That's what did it. Another thing, all you people that's glamming up, all you Americans that's glamming up your children, and they 3 and 4 and 5 years old, and 6 and 7 years old, in single digit ages, and you glamming them up. You glamming them up, right? They got lipstick on, they got all this glamorous stuff on, they got their eyeliner on and all of this stuff, right? How you making them look like a woman before the time and then expecting people to see them as a child? That's how it's happening, because you're making them look like models and glamoring them up. And now these perverts, you know what you're doing, but these perverts are thinking, that's a little woman there. That's a little woman. Can't you see how she acting? And you got lipstick on her, you got eyeliner on her, you got all this stuff making her look like a little princess, you would say. But she's kind of looking like a little slut. Well, did you know? Well, listen, man. Did you know that lipstick started out with the prostitutes in culture? Hear this part. Did you know that lipstick started in prostitute culture, got its start in prostitute culture? That's how lipstick got its start. That's how it blew up, basically. Go look in the culture of lipstick. It was a way to signify women of the night away from women that were married. Okay? So why would you put the lipstick on children that was a signification of women of the night? That's where it comes from. For all people that are not educated, lipstick, the big culture part of lipstick, besides, all the other cultures, on modern cultures, lipstick was a way to signify that a woman was a prostitute. She had to wear it in some cultures. Go look it up. She had to wear it. She had to wear it. And some women know this, and some women don't. Educated women know this, and they do it as art, as if they're women of the night, right? Many of you don't even know that. And you got your children with a signification that was used for women of the night. Yeah, that part. Okay? You need, and because of that alone, you should think, because it was a signification of women of the night, just because of that and how in all of that weight, and obviously it was something that was alluring, you should hold back on letting your children wear all that makeup and wear them bathing suits. And this is the same stuff we see in the movies. This is the same stuff we see in the movies. We see all these children walking around with lipstick on and all this and bathing suits on that look like bra and panties to anybody else. Not just the perverts. It looks like let me say that too. It looks like that to all of us. But in your mind as a parent, oh, that's a bathing suit. To everybody else, it looks like bra and panties. And to the pervert, what's a step up? He's getting aroused about your child in bra and panties, about your child looking like she's in bra and panties. Oh, okay, so he just shuts that down because he thinks it's a bathing suit. Someone who really doesn't care about playing around with children a little bit sexually, you think when he goes to the pool or to the beach, you think he look at your children as they in bathing suits or in bra and panties? Does he put an emphasis on it? We think that it's inappropriate. We think that maybe a child shouldn't be wearing that because it does look like bra and panties. He thinks about it in a pleasurable way. And then you sitting up hollering, wondering why things are happening to these children. And these girls are more voluptuous than ever because of the hormones in the food. Everybody know that. That's been going on for decades. They putting hormones in the chicken, hormones in the meat, and it's making children more voluptuous at a younger age. And then as soon as they think they got a shape, you start celebrating it. Girl, you feeling out. You feeling out like mama. You feeling out like mama. And now you going to get her stuff to show off her shape. Now you let her get in bathing suits because she's a little voluptuous. And she still got baby fat running around here in bra and panties. Swimsuits that look like bra and panty around here with baby fat. I'm keeping it 100. And then you wonder why this stuff happened to these children. Because you got a whole culture that got bra and panty swimsuit stuff all over the country. It's everywhere. And soon as spring come, you're going to see that. Couple more months, you're going to see it all everywhere. All this bra and panty stuff. What you call a swimsuit. And she ain't even swimming. Swimsuit, huh? She doesn't even swim. She got a swimsuit on. Okay. Okay. But she's looking at YouTube and looking at all this stuff on social media. She kind of thinks she's cool wearing this stuff, right? You know that, right? She might not tell you, but she thinks she's cool with it. She thinks she's one of the women, the young ladies, her big cousins. She thinks she's one of her big cousins she see. But because she's young, she ain't gonna tell you and she ain't gonna articulate it. Huh? Yeah, we're gonna clean this all up. We're gonna show you how you've been slipping in every form and fashion, buddy. Now look at all the movies. Look at all the movies that you have that has adult scenes in it right next to children's scenes. Look at all the movies where it shows children in all these bra and panties. You don't think these pedophiles are getting off on those movies? They got enough material from you trying to make kids look cute. These pedophiles got enough material without even going to child porn now. You know why? Because you trying to make them look like a woman these days. So the pedophiles got enough stuff on child channels, children channels, and online for where they don't need child porn. Because see, these days, this is what you need to know, all you pedophile hunters. This is what you need to know. Most of these pedophiles get off on the stuff on the internet now. Stuff that you overlook as just normal, like children in bra and swimsuits. Stuff that you would esteem as normal, like the catalogs where the models are children in swimsuits, right? You would think that's normal, right? Not a pedophile. They can go online and look at all this stuff. That's why you acting like it's still in the 80s where they riding around in a big van, a van that look like the van for the A-Team. The van that look like the van for the A-Team or Astro van. You think they riding around in the Astro van like they did in the 80s. Hey, some of these fools out here think the pedophiles are riding around in Astro vans. Riding around in brown Astro vans. Yeah, that's one of them, see? They ain't doing that no more. They have the internet. Many of these pedophiles are getting off more on that than the reality. Because it's all psychological for them anyway. It's all psychological for them, obviously so. Because you shouldn't naturally have no desire for children, so it's all psychological. You get what I'm saying? Do you follow me? So they're getting off and they're feeding their psychology, their psychological part, their devious, perverted psychological part with all the stuff that's on that is attracted to children. They feed all of that sexual psychological part that's attracted to children. They feeding that online. They feeding that. They're getting off on that concerning that, the sexual psychology of their makeup that gets off on children. They feeding that online. So you don't even know what you're doing now. That's why some people set up fake accounts and they try to go online, but that still is a drop in the bucket concerning real people that are that desire children. Your culture is so silly when it comes to how it projects children. These dormant pedophiles that get off in their homes, they can watch movies and get off. They can watch movies or go online and go on the internet and go through all kinds of child stuff. Stuff that you overlooked. Where your children, that's somebody's children, and I'm pretty sure somebody is getting off. These perverts are getting off, man and women. They're both getting off on it. Yeah, you got to live in the real world. It's women getting off on it too. You got to remember your most famous pedophile in America is a woman, Mary Letourneau. Go look her up. The woman that was on the Oprah show, Mary Letourneau, that married the little Asian boy that was in her class, who she was supposed to have been teaching and educating. She had sex with him. And married him and had children by him. She was the most famous pedophile in your whole community. And guess what you did? You did nothing. You didn't protest her. You didn't even hate her. You didn't even put any folklore around her. Because see, people might not want to admit this, but Oprah glamorized her. Well, she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. After she was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, then it got strange how as you can imagine, it would get strange how people felt about this woman. Okay, we're not trying to hate her. She's touchable. She's right there. She's talking about it. So now we don't hate her because she's talking about it. She's in arm reach of Oprah. That part. She's in arm reach. You see where I'm going with this? She's in arm reach of Oprah. So now we don't want to kill her now. Boom. And this is the woman. This is the most famous pedophile in your culture, and you didn't hate her at all. It ain't nothing you can do about it. She will always be the most famous pedophile that everybody know. Everybody know that white woman that was with that little Asian boy. Everybody know that. Everybody remember that. I was a kid and I remember that. I remember that. It was obvious that he was a child and it was obvious that she was an adult. That's why everybody remembered. Because she was kind of tall too. This wasn't no short little woman. Mary Letourneau was a kind of tall woman. She wasn't short. She wasn't considered short. She didn't have a short neck. She had a long neck, a long torso. She was a tall looking woman. That's what made it so obvious that she was with a child. Her physique, her face even. She had a long face and everything. Everything about this woman was long. And she was the most famous pedophile in your country. And guess what? You did nothing. You didn't protest her. You didn't hate her. She lived out her years. She died in 2020. She just died in 2020. Y'all didn't hate her. Your culture didn't hate her either. Didn't hear any movies talk about her, reference her, how they hated her. Didn't reference her in any way. That's what I'm saying. It's a bias. It's a bias even when it comes to pedophiles in your American culture, because many men will say that I wish I had a teacher like Mary Letourneau. That's a 7 owl. Many men in your culture will say, I wish I had a woman like that. So you wish that you had a woman that was a pedophile that took your sexual virginity. That's what you're telling me. So see, it's a bias. Men, nasty as they are, see how nasty men get? You don't even mind having sex with a pedophile. Not if it's a woman, and not if you was a child. Boom. You've heard men say it time and time again, well, I wish I had a hot teacher like that. I wish I had a hot teacher that I could have had a sexual affair with. You ain't never heard men say that? They say it all the time. The fantasy is insinuated all the time. A boy having sex with his female teacher. And this is why she got away with it. And this is why your culture didn't have a problem with it, because it was the fantasy, and it still is the fantasy of many men. It's a fantasy. It's a sexual fantasy where the child, where the boy is with the aggressive female teacher. And guess what? These days, many of these teacher pedophiles are women. Look how many of them are women. Now see here, I gotta say this part. Now when it comes to female pedophiles, they're not riding around in vans. No, that's not how they do it. The female pedophile has a different approach. They are the ones that's teaching your children. That's what the female pedophiles are. They're the ones teaching your children. They're the teachers. That's what's been trending lately, specifically. It's been the children teachers that have the teacher of children that has been having sex with your children, and you ain't said nothing. You ain't wished death on them or nothing. And they had real acts with them, and they were guardians over your children. You should feel more offended and insulted that people that you put them in your children in their hands. You put your children in their hands, and they turned your children out. They turned your children out, and you acting like everything else stink but that. Because see, in your culture, you have a certain style of pedophile that you go after. Yeah, you go after the Catholic priest, but you don't go after the female teachers, do you? That's a 7 owl. Yeah, you don't go after the female teacher pedophiles. You go after the Catholic priest pedophiles. Okay, then explain why ain't nobody talking about all this stuff and protesting and hating these people and trying to shoot them and kill them. Explain why. Because you know why? Because it's half of y'all fantasy anyway. Half of y'all have these suggestive fantasies of child, literally child. I ain't talking about college. I ain't talking about none of that. I'm talking about grade school. Y'all talk about, oh, well, I wish I had a female teacher like that. So many of y'all have a fantasy of pedophilia and you didn't even know it. Boom. You didn't even know it, did you? Well, if you're talking about an adult, female teacher and messing around with a child, even if it's you, you have a female pedophile fantasy going on in your soul that's in your fantasy system. Boom. Check your fantasy system. Check your fantasy system. Yeah, well, all the little fantasies you got that you be masturbating about. Check your fantasy system. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You sitting up talking about you wish you could have had a teacher like that. So see, it's a double standard. People don't worry about no females being no pedophiles. You know what you worry about? You worry about a man being one. Because see, that's a style that you want to go after. That's the style that your culture has told you is stinky. I think it's just as stinky as an adult female that's a teacher that should be a guardian of your children having sex and turning out your children. They turning out your children more than anybody else is. Well, they teaching them and having sex with them at the same time. That's two turnouts. Yeah, you schooling her on, you schooling her literally and schooling her sexually. Ow, that's a 7. Hey, you schooling her literally and schooling her sexually as well. That's two turnouts. And y'all ain't saying nothing about that, are you? It happens all the time. Go look it up. And I've been waiting to do a video about it. I got a whole list of female teacher pedophiles. It's 50 of them. I got 50 of them on a list. 50 female teachers, not male teachers, female. And you know what I noticed? You know what I couldn't help but notice? All of them are very attractive. See, what they do is use their beauty, and most boys can't turn it down. They can't turn it down. They are human after all. And they do know what beauty is because it's projected in your community. Beautiful women are projected all the time in your community. And they're taught by their peers to like the beautiful women. And so then when they go to school and they see a beautiful teacher that is exceptionally beautiful, the pressure is on to pursue that or to let it happen, right? Better to say to let it happen. And she takes full advantage of that. And you don't think she has some help from the culture? You don't think she knows your culture that projects the sexuality of women in American culture? You don't think she knows that these female pedophiles, you don't think they know that your culture is projecting female sexuality like in a steroids type of situation, like a steroids emphasis on female sexuality? And these boys just eat it up like cake. I got 50 female teachers that have messed with children. And you got a whole culture of that. And I got to get on that. You got a whole female pedophile culture, and they go under the radar because you're not suspecting a female because you have an idea of what a pedophile is. You after a certain style of pedophile. Boom. And this explains why the females get caught after the fact. They go to PTA meetings, meet the parents. They look at they look at the parents right in the face, and then have orgasms with their children later. Turning your children out right up in the school. courting your children right up in school like prey with lions. Them being the lions. Preying on your children like they're wildebeest. You know how you ever heard of wildebeest? Wildebeest. That's how the female pedophiles are. I got a list of 50 of them. That's a culture. From 50, it's pretty enough to say that's a culture, buddy. Not to mention some of them ain't getting caught. Well, everybody ain't getting rounded in, are they? So all the female pedophiles are getting caught? I thought you were smarter than that. Everybody ain't getting caught, big baby. Everybody's not getting caught. That's what you forgot about. The fact that everybody's not getting caught. Because sometimes the kids are with it. I know, that's your little angel. Your little angel ain't talking about it. Your little angel is involved sometimes with the teacher. You don't want to, listen, you don't want to come to terms with it because you have an idea of what a pedophile is. A pedophile to you is some sketchy guy with wild eyes walking around looking like he's lost. That's what a pedophile is to you. Or it's the fat guy. It's the fat guy. I don't know why they think fat people are pedophiles. Fat men are pedophiles. It's something in our culture that tells us, that teaches us this. Because it's a certain image that that the culture has accepted. Just like with all the other stereotypes. It's a stereotype pedophile that you have accepted as the only ones that are pedophiles. Well, explain why everybody else is going under the radar, like the female teachers. Why the female teachers are getting caught after the fact? Because you didn't suspect them. Their beauty deceived you. Their beauty put them under the radar, even with the police. The police see somebody beautiful, see a female that's beautiful. Oh, they ain't worried. They ain't worried about it. In fact, they might want to holler at it. Hey, police are human. I can tell you that from my days of prostitution. I dated a cop one time. Females, police are human, by the way. You ain't no good prostitute if you haven't dated a cop. The good ones, the best dates have dated a cop. So see, when the beautiful pedophiles come, these beautiful pedophiles, these females, yeah, all of them ain't ugly. You got some beautiful pedophiles out there. You can't deny that they're beautiful. And the police can see them in stores. The police can see them on school campuses. The police can see them everywhere. And they go under the radar because police many times do not suspect a beautiful woman of anything. Look at these movies besides child pedophilia, the pedophilia. Look at the movie where a beautiful woman comes in as a distraction against cops, right? They may be robbing a place or something like that, or going undercover as spies. They use a beautiful woman because the beautiful woman can go under the radar. The beautiful woman can go under the radar, and most people, military and police, won't even suspect a beautiful woman. That's sad, ain't it? I don't care nothing about how beautiful a woman is. I'm still looking at all what you're doing. I'm still looking at your activity. I'm still looking at how you're moving. See, that's what real soldiers do. Even besides children, some of y'all are cripples when it comes to the beauty of women. You are a female sexuality cripple. A woman comes around that's beautiful, you become crippled. She can do anything she want to do with you. And that's how many men have been killed in America. You got pulled in by some beautiful woman and they set you up and killed you. That can never happen to me. Yeah. So although many of you might not be pedophiles, you are a sucker for women. Yeah, you think that your culture teach you that it's almost cool to be a sucker for women. And you get deceived, misused, and abused. And some of them got killed. These movies that you have going on is another testament of how much of a pedophilia culture you have, where you have no consideration. People are not thorough as they say they are. They have no consideration that you have adult scenes right next to child scenes. You have adult scenes and child scenes in the same movie. This is a form of indirect pedophilia pornography. Children shouldn't be, no images of children should be in any adult sex movie. Right or wrong. No adult sex scene movie should have children in it, right? So why your whole American culture got that going on? That's a 7 hour. Why your whole culture got that going on? Your whole culture got it going on, where they have adult sex scenes and children's scenes all in one movie. See, just when you thought you were so pure, we hit another corner on you. Now you know I'm right, don't you? Now have you heard any of these people tell you that? Why you think you're so pure and you think you're a stand-up family guy, man? You sit up and watch movies with adults and then it goes to children. We all did. The difference between me and you is I'm aware of it. I have elevated to another level of purity and you still don't see it. But yet you think you're a stand-up family guy. You think you're a stand-up family guy. You know the type. Walk around with his chest out. Think he a stand-up guy, family man. That part. But yet you cannot detect this level of impurity that I'm talking about, where they have adult sex scenes right next to children's scenes. And look, they do it with the commercials too on TV. Watch the commercials. Watch the commercials. Watch the commercials. You will see, and I'm gonna hit something else too. You will see adults at nighttime, late at night, you'll see a hotline, sex hotline or something like that, right? Call us anytime you want some fun. Pick up the phone. Call us when you're trying to have a good time. Pick up the phone. So now you see a movie you see a show like that, right? I mean, a commercial like that. And then children stamping right after that. Ah! And your mind was just looking at the girl saying, call us if you want a good time. Pick up the phone. Now you got children stampering everywhere. You got children stampering everywhere. Now you got children stampering everywhere. And so the arousal of men and others are going from seeing this woman, call us if you want a good time. Pick up the phone. Now you're going from that to children. So you were just aroused looking at her, you know what I mean? And then you went right to children. Now you telling me your sexuality just shut down after that? That's what you're telling me. And see, it's the same thing on Facebook and on your timelines, on Twitter and on TikTok and all of that. Okay, on TikTok you might have, and I'm not picking on, it's all of it. You might have a girl shaking her butt, twerking and everything, flexing and everything, you know. And then you got a kid, they trying to say this, say that, right after that. Now you just watch this girl twerk, right? Flexing, right? And then you come right to a baby TikTok video. Now your mind was watching this girl twerk or whatever, right? Flexing and everything, right? You pulling out about to masturbate. You running the back to masturbate. Then right after that, you didn't know what was coming next. Now you might have checked out some of other videos. You might have checked out some of her other videos, and now she got a child video. Boom. Now you telling me your mind just went from, you turn it off instantly. Now some of y'all are masters. Some of y'all can do that, but not everybody. That's what you got to look at. You can do it, but everybody can't do it. And it's many people, most of your culture can't do that. They don't have the ability to go down a timeline. Hear me out. This is for young people too. They don't have the ability to go down a timeline and see big butts from your family. Might be from your family. Might be big butts in your family. Your auntie dropping it at the cookout. Your auntie twerking for the first time at a cookout and everybody like, whoa. Auntie getting it. Auntie getting it. And then you show children videos right after that. You telling me the psychology of you just now looking at auntie dropping it, right? I'm talking about people on the outside. Auntie dropping it on the video, right? She around the age that you interested in. Boom. Next video is a child video. Yo, you telling me you got the ability to shut down your whole sexuality and arousal, your arousal state totally when a child is on the next video? That's what you're telling me. That's what you have me to believe. Half of the people can't do that. So then guess what happens? You start looking at the child funny. Now you kind of projected some of that sexual vibration onto the next video, onto the next commercial on TV, and onto the next child scene in a movie. And see, this is the higher levels of mastery, and this explains why the American culture can not go any higher, because to elevate in the spiritual world, you have to be pure. To get to the highest levels and highest ranks, to really get true manifestations, you can't do it because God runs the universe. And if God runs the universe, that means it's a system and regulations and principles of purity. And you can't get there because of your culture and the culture that's in you. Boom, ow, that's a 7. That's why you can't get there. Because you still got the culture in you. You still got all this impure stuff in you. And because you ain't went to the highest levels of fasting and spending time with God and worshiping God, because you haven't done this, see, you can't go to the higher. You can't see the stuff that I'm talking about. When you're on Facebook and you go down that timeline and you got child stuff with adult stuff. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's how it goes. Go look at anybody, the normal, everyday person. Go look at all the friends that they added on their timeline, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, and look at all the videos and how they're compressed together. It's just like the movies I was telling you. It's like you got adult sex scenes and then child sex scenes. It's the same thing on people's Facebook accounts, TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, and everything in between, Twitter and all of that. It consists of adult sexuality and child videos, children projected in videos, in images. It's all projected together. It's all projected together. Nobody, no average person has a total adult sex page or a totally adult mature page. If it's not you, it's someone you added that has children material that is in your, that then therefore is put on your timeline. And my whole point is your psychology, you as a human are not made to go from adult sex scenes or adult images to child images. But God and his power and everything that he has given us, he has given us the ability to escape it. But many people they're not even aware of it, and they succumb to it. They don't even try because they know they done failed already. They know they had a little bit of that pedophilia in their mind. When you kind of didn't really care. That's why you ain't really saying nothing about child marriage. You know why you ain't saying nothing? Because you already failed. Yeah, you already failed. Let's tell the truth. Half of y'all quiet because you already failed. You know you failed in yourself. You know you be getting off halfway on this child stuff out here. You know the little teenager girl putting out her little anatomy, putting out her little bubbles. She ain't got no body. She got bubbles. And you getting off on that. And you can lie to yourself, but you know I'm right. You know how I know I'm right? Because you got 44 states for child marriage, and you got children projected in a sexual way in your movies, and you telling me nobody ain't looking at it that way. You telling me you got 44 states for child marriage, and all these sexual children images, right, that's projecting a suggestive sexuality. You telling me ain't nobody looking at it sexually. And you got 44 states of child marriage, and you got the age of consent under 18 in 40 states. The age of consent, besides child marriage, just regular sex, right, that you can have with another human being. This is the law for that. You got the age of consent under 18 in 40 states. 40 states allows you to have sex with children besides marriage, without marrying them. You can have sex with children in 40 states. The age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about. And so you telling me all these images is just happen to be there like that, where they just projecting children in this funny little suggestive way, and you've been feeling the same, like that's funny, right? But you ain't caught it for what it is, because you ain't elevated, because you ain't fasting and seeking the Lord to where He could show you. See, when you fast and you seek the Lord and you worship extensively, you spend extensive time in worship and praise, and you start fasting, now you can see the enemy stick out in 3D. I started to see it stick out in 3D. And I got to do a video about that. When you start going to the higher levels of spirituality, when you start going to the higher levels of purification, everything starts to stick out in 3D. And see people like us, we get looked at as, oh, you ain't got to do all that. Come on, you taking it to the extreme. Am I really? Am I taking it to the extreme, or am I being 100? Am I taking it to the extreme, or did I just go to another level in my walk with God and it stuck out in 3D, like 44 states for child marriage? Some of y'all don't even see it all. Why it stuck out to me? Because I went to another level in purification and walking with God. That's why. And you know why you ain't seen it? Because you don't seek the Lord, and therefore you can't be led into all truth, and nothing can stick out into you in 3D. Nothing. None of that can stick out to you in 3D, because you ain't went to a higher level where it sticks out. See, I don't have to be told by a preacher, because I done went to a higher level and it just sticks out in 3D. I know that ain't right. Even though it may look like, oh, it's just normal, it's just a teenager in a movie. No, they projecting her or him in a sexually suggestive way. You might say, this is just another Facebook account, just another timeline, just another TikTok video, just nah. But check how the timelines are all through this whole country, how y'all timelines are. It's from sexually suggestive stuff as adults, adult content, then it's child content, right or wrong. It's always adult, child content, back and forth, right? When you go down somebody's timeline, that's not normal for your mind to go through those flashes of psychology. Now you see what I'm saying? That's not normal. That's not natural. See, many things that men have made push your mind in an unnatural state. Many things. drugs, everything. You're in an unnatural state of mind. And you don't realize that. Your mind don't supposed to be going back and forth from adult sexuality to a child content. And it does that even though you might be 100, but you feel how you have to bump it off because it's too close to your mind when it comes to sexuality. Now children is right there through your timeline. So now you might be checking something out, then boom, now children is right there and you gotta bump it off. When you're pure, you can do that because you're masters. Because I'm a master, I can do it. I speak for myself. That can't ever get me. I don't care what I'm looking at the news. They can throw all kinds of stuff in there. And see, the enemy, the gang stalkers, the psychological gang stalkers, here's another level. They take your timeline and they bump out attacks against you in 3D while you're going down your timeline. That's the next level. That's the highest levels. And I beat that already. They go on your timelines and they're watching you under surveillance when you interact with baby images and they're trying to push it out against you, to project it towards you, to make you feel like you're a pedophile, so you'll be defeated and your power will be defeated and ultimately hoping you commit suicide. Because they want you to feel you're a pedophile and then make you give up on life. See, I know the Holy Ghost reveals everything to me. So now on the higher levels, you who are whistleblowers and preachers and teachers, you may be going down your timeline and then stuff starts pumping out at you. That's psychological warfare. From mind technology, brain technology, and spiritual technologies in the forms of witches and telepaths and psychics. Witches and warlocks, telepaths and psychics, mind technology too. They can take your timelines and punch stuff out in 3D to assassinate your character. So now the 3D attack on their side, you remember I was telling you about how when you're righteous, these things can stick out in 3D. But see, on the dark side, they send attacks in 3D. Boom. That's the 7th hour. They send a 3D attack while you're on your timeline and make stuff pump out at you. That's why you're feeling that. See, I'm aware of it all. I'm aware of all the tactics. What you have to realize is the American government is not telling you all the technology they have. And I got to do a video on this too. They're not telling you all the technology they now have because they don't want you to have it, because now they don't trust the community to be good stewards over it, to not use it against the American government. So they don't put stuff out that would potentially hack systems and, cause big disturbances in the community. Why would they give weapons to a society like this? Why would they give higher technologies to a society like this? So now it's a security risk they have to think about when it comes to releasing inventions and new technologies. This explains why you don't see many technologies anymore. There's many stuff being invented that you don't know about, but the American government has it and they're using it against you. This is what you don't know. So that's why you feel all these strange things going on. That's why you feel like you're under a monitoring spirit. Many Christians will say, what you call a monitoring spirit is either mind technology, brain technology that's used by satellites and networks of satellites, or it's witches and warlocks, psychics and telepaths. And they are compressed together into a network too that fight certain individuals, high-ranking individuals, Christians, ministers, everything in between that are threats against the American community. See, now you have networks, and that's how they're able to work. Okay? You have networks, and that's how they're able to work. That's how it works. It's really nothing sophisticated about it. They just have networks, really. That's what it really is. The internet is not really sophisticated, really. To a person like me, it's just a network. That's what it is. Everybody can see the same website. It's not really sophisticated. It's just a network. And it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about because the internet been out since I think, late 60s, but definitely between the 60s and the 80s, the internet has been out. Go check it out. The internet has been out. While you talking about, the internet is a new invention that I so love. The internet been out for a long time. The military used it, and we don't know what they were doing all those decades using the internet. Yeah, I ain't no slouch. I ain't no slouch. I'm educated, not just on mathematics and science and social studies. I'm educated on the surroundings of my environment. See, this is what the American community don't know. As soon as you hear the term education, you know what you think about? Social studies. You think about mathematics, social studies, science, and algebra. That's what you think about when I talk about education. And this explains why you're so turned off, because none of that ever benefited you. So when I talk about education, you go back to something that didn't benefit you. That's a 7 hour. I'm talking about, besides that, education after school. And many of you don't even care about it because as soon as you hear the word education, like I said, you think about something that didn't benefit you. Not really. Not really. Did social studies really benefit you? Not if you're not in politics. Not if you're not concerned about other countries really like that. Did science really benefit you? Not if you're not being a rocket scientist or some type of scientist. Science really didn't benefit you. Did algebra really benefit you? Not really. Back again, if you're not a scientist or something like that, or some type of electrician or something like that, none of those things really benefited you. So this explains why many people stay uneducated, because education is a trigger word for subjects that didn't benefit you in school. And this explains why many of you are not educated on your community having 44 states with child marriage. That's education. Now you are educated on how your community sees your children. They see your children. I know they hid it from you because you're not big on education. Not these days. So they was able to put it in front of you like criminals know to do. Criminals do stuff in front of people. They put it right in front of you. And you didn't even know it. You didn't even know child marriage was right here. That's the one of the one-on-ones of being a criminal. Do it right in front of people. Don't go in times where it's dark and murky, where people are ready for crimes and ready for criminals. Go in the time in broad daylight in front of everybody. That's how that works, man. That's how that works. It just came to this, man. People say, what happened? You tell me what happened. You got 44 states with child marriage. You got the 80% of the 18 and 40 states. You just passed your last child marriage law 3 years ago. You tell me what happened. Don't ask me what happened. You tell me what happened. Don't ask me why I'm standing like I'm standing. You tell me what happened with that. Huh? That's what you need to be worried about. Don't worry about my attitude. My attitude is based on reality in your country. And so therefore, it makes no sense to wonder why I am acting the way I'm acting or behaving the way I'm behaving. Won't you find out why this country is the way it is? Won't you investigate that part? I know you've always been taught to make the enemy the community, but you never investigated the government thoroughly and properly. You never even investigated your culture either. Your culture got all kind of movies where adult scenes meets children's scenes all the time, everywhere. And they put these little children out there in this suggestive way, in this hinting way. This is why Hannah Montana, which is Miley Cyrus, was looked at a certain way. It ain't her fault. But there were songs made about her when she was like 15. Yeah, that's what your culture is. I can come up to date with it. When Miley Cyrus was like 15, and she was all on the Hannah Montana, the Hannah Montana thing. She was doing that. People were looking at it as in a sexual way. Now, I'm pretty sure she was projected kind of like an older female. This is what I think. Even though she may have came off as kid-like, look at the subtle hints that it's like she's kind of where they hint that she's kind of close to being an adult, therefore kind of close to being ready for sex. You got to look for those subtle things. It might be lipstick, it might be makeup, and I'm not saying it's her fault per se, It's the people around her. Because Eminem made a song 3 a.m. On 3 a.m., Eminem talked about masturbating to a 15-year-old Hannah Montana. I checked her age when that song came out. She was 15. See, that's when shock rap goes wrong, bro. Yeah, some people think it's cute to have your manager saying, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Yeah, that's when that went wrong, bro. That's when that went wrong. Ain't no way to justify it. That's when shock rap and all that. Oh, the manager going, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm hitting the roof from those lyrics. Now it's getting corny. That's when it becomes corny. And it's out there and it's projected. And see, the thing about it is other people that have perverted tendencies will listen to a song like Eminem 3 a.m. and say, well, I kind of always felt that way about Hannah Montana myself. Maybe I'll go jack off to Hannah Montana. And then in the Young Money song, Every Girl, that's a song, Every Girl. Mac Main told Miley Cyrus, which was also 15, that same year. Those two songs came out in the same year. Eminem, 3 a.m., and Mac Main, Every Girl. They came out in 2009 when Miley Cyrus was like 15, going into 16, right? On the Mac Main song, on the Mac Main verse on Every Girl, the Young Money song, he says, 3 years come holler at me, Miley Cyrus, right? That's what he said. In 3 years come holler at me, Miley Cyrus. See, he thought he was being cool. But in actuality, he think he was being shocking, right? In actuality, that's hollering at a child. That's hollering at a child. That's real. Do you want somebody telling your child, holler at me in 3 years? That's real. Man, you about to pull your gun out. Somebody talking about holler at your daughter or your son in 3 years. But you ain't say nothing, did you? That's what I'm saying. See, you trying to tighten up on it now, but it's too late. Because now the war is broke out. Now everybody trying to be tight. It's too late for that now. It's too late. It's too much history where you wasn't that way. Now it's obvious you're trying to clean up your image as a community, collectively speaking. And it's too late. It's too late. It's too many violations that you did and accused other people of. You know what I'm saying? And here you are slipping with 44 states with child marriage. Here you are slipping with all kind of movies with adult sex scenes and child sex scenes in the same movie. Here you are slipping with the last child marriage law you passed was 3 years ago. Here you are slipping with the age of consent under 18 in 40 states, which means adults can have sex with children without marriage in 40 states. They're not 18. That means they're children. Humans are either adults or children, right or wrong. So should adults be having sex with children? See, this is a game that they shouldn't have played. Because your whole culture and whole community is sexually charged. I'm pretty sure on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm pretty sure these kids are going to have on all these little sexually suggestive stuff, especially the teenagers. Especially the teenagers. From 13 to 17, got all kind of stuff on today. Leggings, tights and stuff, lipstick, all this different Eagles gear and what's the Chiefs gear, all these leggings and skirts and stuff. Oh, I'm wrong about it. So all these teenage girls ain't gonna be wearing nothing sexually suggestive today on Super Bowl Sunday. Man, stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with me, man. This is a game y'all shouldn't have played, bro. Because now we gonna look at everything. What I'm gonna do, turn a blind eye? Yeah, why would I do that? Why would I do that? And you playing Super Mario games. You Super Mario. You want to be Mario, don't you? Well, Mario ain't gonna win this one, buddy. Mario ain't gonna win this. Yeah, because see, you've been projecting the superheroes like the good guys. In actuality, you ain't the good guy. Super Mario ain't gonna win this, buddy. Cooper gonna win this. Cooper gonna win this, big baby. You got 44 states for child marriage. You got the age of consent under 18 in 40 states, buddy. Yeah. Hey, Mario ain't gonna win this one, big baby. You can have all the little alter egos and alter worlds and fantasies you want. Ain't no way you can come out of that. You should have knew better than to fight a game of purity. I don't care if it's game stalkers or anything. We gonna expose everybody. Okay? You might feel like, well, it ain't me, but guess what? It's your whole community now that you expose. Trying to expose somebody else. Yeah, that's played out too. The exposure game. You remember those videos on YouTube? Such and such exposed. This person exposed. That person exposed. Guess what? Who's exposed now? America with 44 states with child marriage. Yeah, that's the title. America exposed. 44 states with child marriage. Ow. Ow. Yeah, it is. It is what it is, bro. It ain't my fault. You know what time it is. The same principles and regulations got to be applied to everybody. That's just how it is in the real world. You can't sit up and apply principles to styles of pedophiles, people that's sketchy. You know how you got them stuck-up girls who talk about sketchy guys. Ooh, he looks sketchy. You know who looks sketchy? That's for all the little stuck-up, prissy little 20-something-year-old girls who think they better than everybody. You know who's really sketchy in your community? 44 states with child marriage in America. That's what's sketchy. That's what's sketchy. Yeah, you always talk about somebody sketchy. You know who's sketchy? 44 states with child marriage. That's very sketchy, big baby. That's very sketchy. That's super sketchy.